solve for x and y here in the bell work. I think the easiest way to do this would be to subtract 5x from both sides and substitute that in for y and solve for x, and then come back and find out what y is. When Lagrange inspected the troops who survived, he found that 3,600 were still alive. If 40% died in the fight, how many troops did he begin with? Well, historically speaking, that's a pretty bad battle. 40%. Usually it's not that bad. So 40%, so that's less than half, right? So I'm going to try to make that look like half. 40% is over here, and 3,600 are over here. So that means that this must be 60%, right? These were the ones that lived and 40% died. So I've got 60% called 0.6. That's the same thing as 60%. You can have the 0 or not. And you multiply it by the total. So I'll say the troops, maybe total, or troops, T for total, or all the troops. And that's supposed to equal 3,600. 60% is 3,600. And then you can solve for T. Let's see here. We've got three things this time, so I guess I'll do the middle one. We'll say 3 x to the fourth, x to the negative fourth, because I add exponents, over y to the 8th, because I add exponents. And they're supposed to be positive, so that's going to become 3 over x to the 4th, y to the 8th. Okay? And then you supply the other two. Supply this term right here. Well, maybe I'll do it different color. You do this. That'll give you something you can subtract that from. And then you also do that one. You'll be able to subtract something again. Okay? So let's see, evaluate. First of all, we ought to know what x equals. So we subtract 6 from both sides. We have 2x is equal to negative 10. And we'll divide both sides by 2. So x is equal to negative 5. And we ought to know what y is equal to. So we'll subtract 4 from both sides. And we have negative 3y is equal to 9. And we'll divide by negative 3 because we don't want a negative y. And we'll say y is equal to negative 3. Okay, so we put in an x, that's negative 5, and we put in minus, so this is going to be 1 no matter what I do, right? So minus 1. This is not included. This is on the outside, so it's minus 1, still keeps the minus sign. And then times, it doesn't say times, but it means times. And let's see, we're going to say x is negative 5. And we're going to subtract a negative, I'm just going to change that to positive. If I subtract a negative 3, it's really adding, minus the absolute value of negative 5 and negative 3. Oh, wait, minus a minus. So again, plus. All right. So just to help along with this part at the end, I may have negative. What's coming out of here? Well, that's a negative 2, but the absolute value makes it a positive 2, so I still have my negative sign out in front. So it's a positive 2 with a negative in front of it, so kind of is a negative 2. Even though we made this negative 2 positive, I still had this out in front. Okay, so you can finish that.